Welcome to The Writer's Dream. This is a show where authors can talk about how they write their books, how they publish their books, and how they market their books. You can find us on YouTube. Just search my name, Linda Maria Frank, and click on my picture, and my shows will come up. And we have about 150 authors we've interviewed so far. And if you are a reader or a writer, there's some very interesting stuff there for you. We are also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page called The Writer's Dream. If you want to get in touch with me, please message me through that Facebook page. We're also on ltveh.org. So they have video on demand. And soon, the shows are all also on Cablevision on Thursdays at 3 o'clock. So today's guest is Jack Bilello, and we have a very different show today. We are going to explore some of the pressing questions that have come up in the last few years, especially because we have impending elections. I will be asking the questions, and Jack will be answering as though he were the president, Donald Trump, and he'll be doing this a la his favorite comedian, Jackie Mason. So if we can pull this off, it's going to be really interesting. So Jack, President Trump, are you ready to answer these pressing questions?
It is a great pleasure for you to see me today because I am a sensation. I am terrific. I am fantastic. But every once in a while, I follow someone who is not as fantastic or as sensational as I am. Last week, I followed an act that was so bad that people were booing the act before me during my act. They were walking out on the act before me during my act. And the same is true with President Obama. They are not booing me or attacking me. They are attacking the president before me. They are attacking Obama, not me, because I am fantastic and a great sensation.
Well, with this theory, it's possible that they're even booing the president who will come after you. The questions, by the way, have all been gleaned from your previous press conferences, which you don't have, but you do have screaming matches between the reporters and you on the tarmac.
Let me say, before we even start, there are no dumb questions. There are no stupid questions, so you can ask any question.
Well, these questions come from actually documented sources. So, Mr. Trump, President Trump, let me give you your due respect. Many unnamed sources claim that you are under enormous pressure due to the various ongoing investigations. For one, can you comment on the question of your collusion with the Russians, your alleged collusion with the Russians?
Well, I was wrong. I was wrong for the first time in my life. That is the dumbest question I have ever heard. And I don't know the meaning of the word pressure. And that is because I have a very poor vocabulary. You would think at this time I would know the meaning of that word. But there was no collusion. No collusion.
What about conspiracy?
There was no conspiracy. There was no collusion. No collusion, no. There may have been a collision, a wee bit of a collision. It was not exactly a collision. It was a little bump. I was at the Russian tea room, and I bumped into someone. He may have been a Russian. He was having a glass of tea from a samovar. He was having pickled herring, and he was having borscht. But that's the only connection that I had with someone who may have been a Russian.
Well, do you think that your Twitter storms relieve your pressure, the pressure you're feeling as the president?
My Twitter storms are the best thing. The only thing that is not fake news in this country are my Twitter storms. Let's see, the Spanish philosopher George Santayana said, those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it. I say those who forget the past are condemned to retweet it. So my tweeting is the only real news that the American people are getting.
Okay, let's address the statement that you made, that you were not in Russia, didn't know any Russians, but weren't you at the Miss Universe pageant in 2013?
That does not mean that I spoke to a Russian or saw a Russian. I was too busy, very busy. I was walking into the girls' dressing rooms, seeing them dress and undress. I did not have time to speak to a Russian.
Well, that's a very elevating thing coming from a President Trump. What about the Trump Tower meeting in 2016?
There was no meeting. How many times do I have to say there was no meeting?
Well, I don't know. Donald Jr. said there was a meeting, and you can't have a meeting with just one person.
My son is a schmuck. He has never listened to his father. You know how kids are today. I have a schmuck who's Donald and a putz who is Eric. These kids do not listen to me. But if there was a meeting, at most, then 2 people, okay. Maybe there were 4 people or 5 people. Okay, there were 8 people, but that's it. I will not go higher than 8 people. That's my limit. I'm a businessman.
So these 8 people, they were talking about adoption by Americans of Russian babies. Tell me, are you and Melania planning to adopt a Russian baby?
That was the meeting. It was about adoption. They say it's about dirt on Hillary Clinton. She's crooked. I do not need dirt on Hillary Clinton. The meeting was about adoption Russian babies because Americans like Russian babes. I like Russian babes too, as long as they're from 18 to 25. That's for me. But Melania and I are not going to adopt a Russian baby. Melania and I, we don't even communicate. We don't speak. When was the last time you saw me speaking to Melania? Has anyone saw me speaking to Melania? No one has saw me speaking to Melania. And that is the truth.
Well, how does she communicate with you?
She wears a nice jacket and puts a big, bright, white letters on the back. And I read those letters that she puts on the back of her jacket when I'm watching TV, 10 to 12 hours of TV a day, and that is how I communicate with Melania.
I don't know. Sounds like a marriage made in heaven. Let's move on to another topic. What do you think of Michael Cohen's statements in court about his business, or I should say his lawyerly dealings with you?
Michael Cohen. He was my lawyer for many, many years. He was my fixer. And now I hear he's no good. He is no good. The man is no good. He has said that I have paid $130,000 to Stormy Davis because I had sex with her. I did not have sex with Stormy Davis. No, I never had sex with Stormy Davis.
How about Stormy Daniels?
Stormy Daniels, you see, it's confusing. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Stormy Daniels, I never had sex with Stormy Daniels. But I did have sex with Stephanie Clifford.
But they're the same person.
Nobody tells me anything. Nobody tells me that they're the same person. How was I to know? I would not pay $130,000. I am a businessman. The most I would pay is $1.25. That is the most I would pay.
How about Karen McDougal?
Karen McDougal. And they bring Karen McDougal up. Another name. That was not my fault. That was not my fault.
How could it not be your fault?
I'll tell you. You want to know?
Yes.
I will tell you if you want to know.
I'm dying to know.
You sure you want to know?
Yeah, I'm dying to know.
Because I am going to tell you whose fault it was. It was. It was. Yes. It was Melania's fault. It was Melania's fault. She was pregnant and had a baby and couldn't have sex. I couldn't have sex with Melania. What was I to do? I had no choice.
Oh, there were other choices. I can name a few, but we're on television. Another question. Some of your detractors are anonymous. What do you think of them, these detractors who won't give their name?
I can't even pronounce the word anonymous. I'm anomalous. I'm anonymous. That is a lie. I feel that I am an innocent man who is surrounded by assassins. and I am not paranoid, but I have enemies all over the place. There's nothing I could do about that. My enemies are attacking me, and I actually saved someone from sexual assault. No one mentions that. I saved someone from sexual assault.
Oh, please tell us.
You know how I did it?
No.
You want to know?
No.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm going
I
to
do.
tell you. I'm going to tell you if you want to know or not. I saved someone from sexual. You know how?
How?
I changed my mind. I changed my mind, and that saved that person from sexual assault.
Oh, well, that fortunate for that person, I guess. All right, on to another topic. You have decided to move the American consulate from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and this is very controversial. But you claim to be a great friend of Israel. Would you like to tell us about your feelings about Israel?
I love Israel. I support Israel. Israel is one of my favorites. I have gone to Israel many, many times. As a matter of fact, recently I was in Israel, and I went to the Wailing Wall. Now, why did they change the name? 5,000 years it was called the Wailing Wall. For the last hour and a half, they call it the Western Wall. I don't understand that. But I went to the Wailing Wall, and I saw a Hasidic rabbi praying at the Wailing Wall. Baruch Gatoy Elonoi Elohonya Hamotzi Lechem Mini Horowitz. I said, Rabbi, what are you praying for at the Wailing Wall? And he turned, he said, my son, I am praying for world peace. I am praying for the brotherhood of man. I am praying for the end of all hunger and poverty. And I said, Rabbi, that's wonderful. Does it work? He looked at me, he said, does it work? It's like talking to a wall. Oy vey.
Who is Minnie Horowitz? I don't remember that from any Jewish prayers. Who's Minnie Horowitz?
That's for me to know
It's so nice.
and you to find out.
It's so nice to see you laughing, Mr. Trump, because we hardly ever see you laughing. We see you mostly making terrible, grimacing faces and when anybody is asking you any questions. Why is that? Why do you make these faces?
I am not making faces. That is my face.
Oh.
That is my face. It's not my fault that I have orange hair and an orange face. It's not my fault.
And of course, you would never make fun of anybody's face.
I don't make fun of anybody. There are two things in this world that I hate, I detest, I despise. One is name calling. Name calling.
You despise name calling.
I despise name calling. Do you want to know what's the other thing that I hate?
What?
I hate that idiot, Bob Woodward. I hate that dog, Omarosa. I hate Crooked Hillary. I hate all of these people. That's what I hate.
Uh-huh. So all of these books that have been written about your presidency, I mean, it's amazing. You've only not even been president 2 years, and I can name about 8 books that have been written about your presidency so far. So why are you so against Woodward's book?
Liar. The man is a liar. Liar is what he is. He has written a book of fiction, even though he wrote 19 other books of fact that he criticized Obama, and he criticized Carter, and he criticized Clinton, and he criticized Bush. This is a book of fiction compared to all the others that were books of facts. So, there's one book that is the greatest book next to the Bible, and maybe even not exactly better, but maybe as good as the Bible. And that is The Art of the Deal.
You didn't write it.
I did write it. The person, Tony Schwartz, who claims that he wrote it, is another example of an assassin, someone who is out to get me. I wrote that book. And that's the truth, even though I stretched the truth a little. But look at Obama. People have criticized me. Obama did nothing. Obama did nothing. 8 years he did nothing. In 1 year, I was a sensation. I was a fantastic president. I did more than Obama did. Look, let's take a look at the record. Obama, He saved the country in the Second Great Depression when the country collapsed and the economy collapsed. That's nothing. He brought health care to 30 million people who did not have it. Nothing. No big deal. He tried to save the climate from the
Paris
devastating
Accord?
effect of climate change with the Paris Accords. Nothing. That was nothing. He brought about an Iran deal to stop nuclear weapons. That was the worst deal that has ever been made, even though it would have prevented Iran from getting weapons for 15 years. 15 years is nothing. That is nothing. He wanted the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a big trade agreement with all of Asia. I canceled that because that was nothing. And he tried to protect consumers. Imagine trying to protect consumers against businessmen. I'm a businessman. I support businessmen. There was no need to protect consumers. Oh, he saved General Motors from collapsing and disappearing. We have a lot of other cars. I could have bought a Chrysler or a Cadillac or anything else. Well, not a Cadillac, that's General Motors. I could have bought a Ford and a Lincoln. I didn't need General Motors. There was no reason to save General Motors. So, what have I done?
Yes,
what have
what
I done?
have you done?
The man who did nothing for 8 years, what have I done? I have signed one executive order after another. Countless executive orders. Have you looked at my signature? It looks like an electrocardiogram. I have signed one executive order after another after another. And what have I done? I have been able to undo practically everything that Obama has done. Everything. But since Obama has done nothing, my executive orders have undid nothing. What am I saying? What am I saying? I must rearrange that.
Yes, I am confused, I must say. So, but I must not leave this whole topic of these books yet, because the claims are, for instance, Omarosa, the dog. All right, her book is called Unhinged. Okay, and then Michael Wolff writes this book, and he says that the White House is chaos. And then Rick Wilson writes a book saying that everything Obama touches dies.
Everything Trump does.
Trump touches. See, you have me so
I'm
confused.
getting you confused.
Yes, I'm so confused.
You're even more confused than I am at this point.
And then David Korn and Michael Isikoff are talking about your entire relationship with the Russians as Russian roulette.
David Korn. David Korn. But how do you know his father? He calls his father Pop. And that, oh, you're laughing, but his father is Popcorn. Now,
this is why you had a TV show. Okay. All right. Now, you also mentioned in a press conference that some of the books that have come out have been favorable to you. Name me one.
Does anybody know Corey Lewandowski?
Oh, yes.
I wish I could pronounce his name because his book is a sensation. It's fantastic. It's Let Trump Be Trump. And that's what I say is a great book that will go down in history as one of the best books ever been written.
Well,
look at my tax plan. My tax plan. Fantastic achievement. So what? Most of the benefits go to the wealthy. 83% go to 1%. I forgot about the other 17%. Therefore, you can see what a great person I am. But people are complaining and criticizing me that I did not pay for the tax cuts, that now the deficit and the debt is going to go over to $1 trillion. It's nothing. It is nothing. I didn't pay for the tax cuts because I'm a businessman. People don't have to pay for something if they're a businessman.